the Jalapeno, which is built guided on the fundamentals of OpenAI LLM. It's built on ChatGPT, and it's the full stack from the model all the way down hardware and software to the basic transistor. When you have that kind of capabilities, you will get a chip, as Greg put it, that is superb.
This is a real performance improvement on performance per watt in terms of performance per dollar. And so for a fixed amount of intelligence for a fixed model, it is so much more performant, but also it means we're going to be able to serve just much more intelligent models, much more broadly at scale.
OpenAI just unveiled its first custom AI chip, and surprisingly, this announcement may be more important than the launch of a new AI model. Because while everyone is focused on GPT-6, AI agents, and the future of ChatGPT, OpenAI has quietly started building something much bigger, its own AI infrastructure. The chip is called Jalapeño. It was built with Broadcom company, and according to OpenAI, it could help make AI faster, cheaper, more reliable, and more accessible. But here's what caught my attention. The chip itself wasn't the most interesting part. The real story is why OpenAI decided to build it. Because once you understand that, you start to see where OpenAI believes the future of AI is heading. In today's video, we'll uncover what Jalapeno actually is, why OpenAI builds its own chip, why Broadcom is involved, and how the chip was only developed in just 9 months, why AI helped build the chip itself, and what AI means by a full stack strategy, and what this means for ChatGPT and the future of AI. So let's get started. Once again, welcome back to the AI news, and let's dive into it. So a few days ago, OpenAI and Broadcom has officially unveiled Jalapeno. OpenAI described as its first intelligence processor. And for a company known primarily for software, this is a huge moment. When people think of OpenAI, they usually think of ChatGPT, GPT models, image generation, codecs, AI agents, but now OpenAI is entering the hardware world. And that tells us something important. The company is no longer thinking only about AI models, it's thinking about everything underneath those models: the chips, the networking, the servers, the infrastructure, the data centers. And that's exactly where today's story begins. What is Jalapeno? Let's start with the obvious question. According to OpenAI, Jalapeno is an accelerator which is specifically designed for large language model interface, or LLM. Now that sounds complicated, but let's simplify it. Whenever you ask ChatGPT a question, whenever ChatGPT writes code, and whenever an AI agent completes a task, inference is happening. Inference is actually the moment when AI actually serves users. Training is when an AI learns, inference is when it works. And as AI usage grows, inference is becoming one of the biggest challenges in the industry. Millions of people use AI every day. Soon, that could become billions. And every request requires computing power, every answer costs money, and every interaction consumes electricity. And that's why inference matters so much. Now, according to OpenAI, Jalapeno was designed specifically around these workloads, not gaming, not graphics rendering, not traditional computing, AI inference. And that's a major distinction. The picture you see here is actually a collaboration between Broadcom and OpenAI, and here is the Jalapeno chip. You can see here, this is the picture, and they have actually unveiled it. And now let's go to the next question. The next question is the AI compute problem. To understand why OpenAI built this chip, we need to understand the problem it's trying to solve. AI is becoming incredibly expensive, not for users, but for the companies running it. Every ChatGPT response requires infrastructure, massive infrastructure, huge server farms, networking equipment, cooling systems, power systems, data centers, and of course, processors. Lots and lots of processors. The AI industry is consuming unprecedented amounts of compute, and demands keep increasing because there's more users, more businesses, more developers, more AI agents, and more advanced models. Everything requires more infrastructure. Eventually, companies reach a point where buying more hardware isn't enough. They start asking a different question. And how do we make AI more efficient? And that's where Jalapeno enters the story. And for years, OpenAI, they actually relied on third-party hardware, just like most AI companies. But eventually, OpenAI realized something. The future of AI may require infrastructure designed specifically around AI, not infrastructure adapted for AI, designed for it from day one. And that's exactly what OpenAI says it did with Jalapeno. The company describes it as a blank slate design, meaning it wasn't adapted for previous workloads, it wasn't modified from older architecture, it was built specifically for modern large language models. Now, that alone makes the announcement significant because it suggests that OpenAI believes it becomes important enough to justify building dedicated hardware. Of course, OpenAI didn't do it alone. The company actually partnered with Broadcom. So here you can see it was Jalapeno was delivered to OpenAI CEO Sam Altman and also the president Greg Brockman by Broadcom president and CEO Hock Tan and President Charlie Kawwas, marking an important step in OpenAI's strategy to build the full stack behind its models and products. So, this chip was designed from scratch around its deep understanding of LLM fundamentals, informed by its roadmap of models, kernels, serving systems, and product needs. So, with partners Broadcom and Celestica, helping industrialize the platform through chip implementation, high performance networking, and also scalable production systems. And Jalapeno is actually designed with the flexibility to work with all LLMs, guided by OpenAI's insight into the inference needs of current and future AI models across the industries. And here they say that the Jalapeno chip are running ML workloads in the lab at production target frequency and power, including GPT 5.3 Codex Spark. And one more thing is that Broadcom brought expertise in silicon implementation, high performance networking, manufacturing, data center infrastructure, large scale production. So, OpenAI brought something equally important. Its deep understanding for AI workloads, its understanding of ChatGPT, its understanding of inference, its understanding of future AI models. Together, they built Jalapeno. And according to both companies, this partnership is only getting started because Jalapeno isn't a one generation product, it's the beginning of a multi generation roadmap, meaning future versions are already planned. Now, the crazy 9-month timeline. One detail from the announcement, it surprised many people. The announcement was the development timeline. According to OpenAI and Broadcom, Jalapeno went from design to manufacturing tape out in only 9 months. 9 months. That's incredibly fast. In the semiconductor industry projects, it often takes years. Yet, OpenAI says this may be among the fastest advanced AI accelerator development cycles ever achieved. And that's where the story becomes even more interesting because AI itself helped accelerate the process. Think about this for a moment. OpenAI says its own models help speed up parts of the design and optimization process. In other words, AI help engineers build hardware for future AI systems. That's a fascinating idea. The same technology millions of people use every day is now helping create the infrastructure behind future generations of AI. It's almost like a feedback loop, and better AI creates better hardware enables better AI, and better AI creates even better hardware. And the cycle continues. Now, if this trend continues, future AI systems may help design future processors even faster, and that could dramatically accelerate innovation. Now, the performance per watt. Now, let's talk about one of the most important claims in the announcement performance per watt. Now, this might sound kind of technical, but it's actually one of the most important concepts in AI because every AI request consumes power, every response consumes energy, and when you're serving millions of users, efficiency becomes critical. Now, according to OpenAI, it says that the early testing suggests Jalapeño delivers substantially better performance per watt than current state of the art solutions. Now, OpenAI hasn't released the complete benchmark data yet, but if this claim holds true, the impact could be enormous because efficiency means lower cost, lower energy consumption, greater scale, more capacity, and ultimately more affordable AI. Now, this also brings us to what I believe is the real reason OpenAI built Jalapeno. Throughout the announcement, OpenAI repeatedly talks about something called a full stack strategy, and I think this is the key because for years, OpenAI focused primarily on models. Then it expanded into products, ChatGPT, codecs, APIs, AI agents. Now it's moving into hardware. Why? What is the reason? Because OpenAI wants every layer of the system working together: the chip, the networking, the inference systems, the models, the products, the user experience, everything. Instead of relying entirely on infrastructure built by other companies, OpenAI wants greater control over the stack, and that allows it to optimize every layer around a single goal, making AI faster, more reliable, more affordable, and more scalable. And one section of the announcement really stood out. Now, OpenAI describes what is essentially an infrastructure flywheel. Now, here's how it works: better infrastructure creates better efficiency enables better AI models, and better AI models create better products. And better products attract more users, and more users generate more revenue. That revenue funds even more infrastructure, and the cycle repeats again and again. So Jalapeno sits right in the middle of that flywheel. It's not just a processor, it's part of OpenAI's long term strategy for growth. Another phrase that caught my attention was gigawatt scale deployment. That's huge. We're talking about enormous future AI infrastructure because, according to Broadcom, this platform is expected to scale across multiple generations and support future data center deployments beginning in 2026. That tells us something important. OpenAI isn't building infrastructure for today's AI demand. It's building infrastructure for tomorrow's AI demand. And tomorrow's demand could be far larger than most people expect. Now, what does this mean for ChatGPT users? Potentially a lot. Because if OpenAI succeeds with this strategy, you could see faster responses, better reliability, more AI availability, lower operating costs, more powerful AI products. Most users will never see Jalapeño. They'll never hold it. They'll never interact with it directly, but they may feel its impact every time they use AI. And that's ultimately the goal. Infrastructure improvements become user improvement. So, why did OpenAI build Jalapeno? Because OpenAI believes the future of AI isn't just about building better models, it's about building better infrastructure. Jalapeno is OpenAI's first major step into custom AI hardware. And while it's still early, this announcement reveals something important. OpenAI is thinking about chatbots beyond GPT models, beyond product launches. The company is building the foundation it believes will support the next generation of artificial intelligence. Whether Jalapeno becomes a massive success remains to be seen. But one thing is clear: OpenAI is no longer just building AI, it's building the infrastructure behind AI. And that may end up being the most important part of this entire story. So, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more AI news. And let me know in the comments below, do you think OpenAI building its own chips is the right move? Or will NVIDIA continue to dominate the future of AI hardware? So, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.